month before the APs. I'm screwed. I'm toast like a roast. And you know what? Yesterday, I just committed the greatest sin ever. I went to the bathroom during study time. 3 minutes wasted. 3 precious minutes during study time. Well, I could have been productive. Well, I could have been doing my multiple choice for AP English. Well, I could have been practicing this freaking long and freaking important speech. And then I'm going to get a 1 on my APs, and then I'm never going to get into a decent university, and then I'm never going to get a job. I'll sweep the streets, I'll make a living scooping poop for the alpacas, and then I'll die broke and alone at 30 years old. Okay, I gotta get studying right now. Hold my eggplant, okay? Okay, wait. You know, neurotic, anxious, involution. It's not just me, not just you guys, not just Beijing. My name is Julia, obviously, and today we're going to talk about involution. Hey, where's my PowerPoint clicker? This is from Tsinghua University. And this is a short lesson on etymology to complement what Mr. George from AP has taught us. Okay, so the concept actually originated as an antidote to an idea of Immanuel Kant. He described evolution as a positive natural process in which systems go from simple to complex, chaotic to ordered. They evolve from stable states to higher stable states. Well, I mean, obviously, I haven't read any of those, but I'm just putting them up there to impress you guys. In 1963, Clifford Geertz first used this term to describe diminishing marginal returns. In his analysis on agriculture in Java, due to land and equipment constraints, additional inputs and labor did not yield additional returns. Okay, so now let's look at the formal definition. I don't know. According to our very reliable friend, Baidu, involution is described as a social model where systems become more complex internally because they can neither settle for an equilibrium state or evolve to a higher state. In our current context, basically that scarcity of resources and the perception that everyone around us is struggling for them pressures us to involuntarily compete. Now, I'm pretty sure nobody is a stranger. I labor for 3 months to become TOEFL independent. And then there's Cassia, who just like takes the test and gets 118, like LOL. This is a classic Nash equilibrium. A Nash equilibrium, or a personalized dilemma, is a situation where individuals engaged in a combative game always have an incentive to go for their dominant strategy, but this does not result in the optimum outcome for the group. I think this is a pretty classic concept in oligopoly firm theory. All the microeconomics people, you better be familiar with this, or shame on you. It's when firms choose to price low when other firms price low, follow when other firms take out on ads. The problem with this is that everyone goes for their dominant strategy, but no one's welfare is actually maximized. In the long term, this leads to basically an inflation of effort. Now, the standards for success for us are defined as going to an elite school, getting a spacious house, getting a high-paying job, and retiring with like a mansion. And then, what are the standards going to be 30 years later? I don't know. Get your child in an elite school, get them a spacious house, and your grandchild, and on and on and on. Okay, this is ridiculous to the point that it's no longer funny. A nanny's resume shows that she graduated from Tsinghua. To get a job as an office accountant, you need at least an MBA. And my summer school, no, I'm not talking about you, Pioneer, asked me to write 8 application essays. In our overly competitive, overly populated world, Scarcity means that we must struggle extra just to survive. Now, the consequences of involution are chronically underrated. The thing is, we become cynical about our interests. We stop doing the activities that we started. We lose touch with our friends and refuse to communicate with our parents, and especially counselors, just because we're so tired and cranky. We become listless. It takes away our creative spark, and in the end, we enter into a vicious cycle of frustration, lagging performance, and more frustration. Just like the many of you now whose heads are down because they're so tired after a day working and have to listen to my boring speech. This takes away the precious time and energy that could have been used for innovation. The innovation that solves the opportunity shortage that's causing involution in the very first place. True passion, which is not just doing something because Mrs. Hai says that it'll get you to Princeton, but seeing a genuine need to help other people, to fulfill a gap in your community. Involves pursuing something, no matter if the cost-benefit analysis makes sense or not. Just this mindless rat racing takes away the precious time and energy that you could have dedicated to that. John Maynard Keynes brought up the ludicrous idea that maybe the government instead of the market itself can alleviate the depression. Not because he wanted to annoyingly hog up half of our AP macro textbook and make life for everyone during the NEC, but because he was genuinely concerned at unemployment rates at 25%. If Einstein wanted to make more money at the patent office, the worst thing he can do is just study physics. His eyes were not on the rat race, but on the relationship between matter and energy. Instead, we focus on the achievements that are guaranteed return, tried and true, just because we're so scared that the system won't reward us. Like getting a 36 on the ACT at all costs because a 37 is legally illegal. Doing 8 APs in 1 year because your friend did 7, and yes, go get them, you have to get them. And of course, the notorious practice of studying culinary science, psychology, and managerial economics in 红楼梦, 红学. We surrender our values for a majoritarian, utilitarian framework. But we surrender them for a kind of materialistic consumerism. We just basically give up on our own values. Okay, I think we should clarify one thing here, and I don't think that I would be thrown out of school for saying this, but there are reasons why our system fails to reach the equilibrium state when left on its own, just like most markets. China is still grappling with its dual identity of developing and developed country. Now, with more issues than ever, like high unemployment rates, high inflation, a volatile real estate market, and a global economic superstar facing an aging population and declining GDP growth every year. We got 99 problems, and the less involuted we are, the better we can solve them. Okay, but I think that if we want to solve this problem, we gotta start with clarifying the definition. The current problem is that it's neither specific enough to highlight an institutional failure, nor is it poignant enough to point out the urgency. Like, my pinky started bleeding after Mr. Conrad's history exam. That's involution. I didn't go out on Saturday to be hot because I had to finish memorizing my draft. Involution. I got rejected by SUMAC, the very prestigious Stanford mathematics camp. Involution. I did not get into Harvard like they did. Involution. Okay, I'm going to break the English policy here. Pay me if you wish, but 万物皆可卷. It doesn't work like that. While I do completely understand that everyone has instincts to reach for this word as a plea for compensation of their suffering, there is a problem. When we subconsciously resort to this word, to describe all our problems. We feel entitled, but we shirk this responsibility. We forget the fact that everyone is not only a victim, but also a perpetrator. Another thing is that this word is attributed to a macroscopic system and it fails to describe the struggles by individuals. For one thing, rather than saying we are involuted, it's better to say that we are myopic, dumb, stuck, rigid, fraudulent, stuck in our own well of beliefs about success, just because we're committed to keeping the status quo. A better word to describe our current systems here would probably be technocratic authoritarian, cutthroat capitalist. Okay, onto the positive stuff. I'm going to stand under the light here. On what we can do as both individuals and a collective. One thing is that instead of looking at team opportunities as something that just proves how much Eli wants to torture us, or an opportunity to extract gold medals out of each other, we should see them as chances for synergy. Yes, synergy, the cheeky corporate concept that describes how 1 + 1 is greater than 2. Because people here have a ton of talents. I mean, people here at the international department major in economics, engineering, creative writing, theoretical physics, music, psychology, classics, and maybe political science, maybe education, maybe literature. I mean, all sorts of things. There are huge opportunities to collaborate. Another thing is that we should just stop calling each other Zhang. This ambiguous compliment/insult just muddles the context for this word, and it neglects the fact that everyone is a victim. But luckily, much of the involution we see in our society is either unintentionally or purposely fabricated. All the IPM medal harvests, the Conrad challenges, and the Ivy League admissions, they are pushed at us by various very profit-seeking groups. I won't call out any names. And the thing is, accept that everyone has advantages and drawbacks. Aileen started skiing when she was 3. Eli wrote his 100 master's thesis in Chinese. Both of our alpacas can spit further than you can. I had a competition with them and I lost. Okay? So focus on our advantages. Cheer each other on for our hard work, and specialize for Adam Smith's sake. There are far more definitions of the good life than what we are used to. There are many alternatives to white-collar work, to just being a law professor and getting a bunch of cash and lying flat when you're 30. There are alternatives to marriage, to living in urban cities. It's just that as teenagers, it seems like they are far beyond reach. For example, you can be a hippie drama teacher in a conservative Chinese public school. Yeah, that's basically what I think Jack will look like when he grows old. And of course, remember, why are we here? I know I sound like Emerson, like, ew, but remember, you chose the international department. You chose the alternative life to 238 million Chinese kids in the public department. Yes, you chose NEC. You chose the very annoying USAD. You chose our, okay, maybe you didn't choose our politics lessons, but you chose our metaverse club. Remember that you chose a life of alternatives. And remember, this is what we're striving for. Okay, unless I didn't pass Luna or Linda's class, but university is a subset of life. We grow, we evolve, we change. So Of course we roll. We rock and roll. Thank you.